Today I made $1,350 trading the S&P 500 futures, and in this video I want to go over the trades I took, what it looked like on the order flow, and why I took those trades. Now before diving into the trades, I want to show that I actually did make this money. This right here is my Sierra Charts platform. Here it says 1,350 C. C stands for cash, and this right here is my account number. My account number is showing that this is a real account, this is not a simulated account, and also this is not a prop firm. I do not trade on prop firms. Therefore, this right here is real money and it's not fake. Now, with that out of the way, before I dive into the trades, I want to show the actual pre-market plan that I had going into the day, which gives context of why I took the following trades that I'm about to go over. So now going into the actual day, what was my pre-market plan going into the day? I said in the morning, my main area of interest today are the previous highs / overnight lows area at the 56.62, 56.55. If this area can hold, I would like to see 80 trade, and above 80, I would like to see 5,700 and potentially Friday's point of control, which is at 57.11. What I'm referring to here is this demand zone that you see here, which is this green box. The reason I am watching this is because you can see in this move up, we're currently in an uptrend, which is already bullish, and that's why I'm already on the bullish bias for the day. But also, you can see this is where we have multiple points throughout this entire trading period that we bounce from here, we bounce from here again. But specifically, what the reason I was mainly watching this is because of this overnight session of Sunday, and then this morning we were trading these overnight lows, these previous highs. These is where the overnight lows were made, and for that reason I was watching these overnight lows, because beneath the overnight low, which dives back into the actual plan, beneath the overnight lows, if these overnight lows fail to hold, I see us trading lower down to the next shelf of volume, which is 56.32, which aligns with the next previous lows, where we could potentially see a bounce. If that also fails to hold, the last area bulls need to hold in order to continue is 5,600. And if 5,600 fails, there's nothing stopping the market from trading lower, in my opinion. So my whole context for the day is if these overnight lows can hold here, I would expect a move up to 5,700, which is what ended up happening today. And above 5,700, I expect us to trade to the point of control, which is this yellow line here. And the opposite, if these overnight lows fail to hold, then I expect us to trade lower to 56.30, where we could potentially see a bounce. If we don't see a bounce, I expect us to trade lower down to 5600, which is the next previous low and big previous low. So this is the previous low, this is the previous low, and now these overnight lows here are putting in the next previous lows at these previous highs, which is why I was looking for a bullish move up to 5,700. So now with that out the way and all the context that's given, let's dive into the actual trades in the market open and see when I took these trades and why I took them. Now, just for context, I did take 5 trades today. 2 of them, the first 2 trades were break-even trades. My third trade was a loss of 3 points, aka $300. And then my fourth trade was a 13-point win, which is $1,300. And then my last trade was a very small win, very quick, short trade, only lasted 18 seconds. And that was a trade of $340. So all that added up to $1,350 after fees, $1,300. So let's dive into the actual trades. This right here is market open, and off the bat, right before, ignoring the order flow itself, we're opening up at my area of interest. So I just want to see any signs of opportunity, any signs that I could take long. So I'm just waiting and I'm watching for any opportunity that I can take long. So far, we saw a little bounce off open, and then we come back down, we sweep this current low of day, and then we create their new low of day, and then we bounce from it again. And now here is when I take my first trade. So we open up a small move up, we come back, we put in a low, and then we trade higher. And then when we traded lower here, and then we see more selling step in at the same previous area, but we don't move any lower. That was my sign, hey, maybe I can take a shot at this. The fact that we're seeing sell attempts here at these lows, but we're not selling off any lower, tells me that, hey, there's a buyer down here at 56.60, which is also just a psychological level that is buying this right now. And the fact that we're at demand, which puts it, connects it with market context and my pre-market plan, it gives me enough confidence to give this a chance. Now, I took this trade here and I'll show you guys my executions for this trade. This is the first trade. This is TradeZella, by the way. So I took this trade here, stop at 56.59. My execution was at 56.63. That's where I got filled. And then I was in profit for a good while, but I ended up getting stopped at break even. So after we play this for a little bit, you can see we go up good amount. I'm in profit at this point. And my rule of thumb is once I'm in profit for 5 points, my stop gets moved to break even. Because after 5 points, in my eyes, if it goes back 5 points against me, then I probably either mistime the market or I'm just wrong on this idea. So there's no reason for me to take a loss on this trade anymore. So once we're in 5 points in profit, I expect it to continue. But in this situation, we didn't continue, and we come all the way back to my entry at 56.63, and I get stopped out at break even. So we're still, like, my plan is not invalidated yet. We're still trading at demand. We still see a good sign of buying right after this move up. There's still buyers are present, so I'm still looking for any other opportunity to go long. And that is when my next trade came in shortly after here at 9:43. We sweep these lows here at 56.61, 56.60. We put in a new low, and then we start trading higher back above these lows, and that is when I get filled here at 56.62 this time, so about a point lower, and then same thing. And then news comes out at 9:45. I knew this, and I adjusted my stop to break even just in case when news comes out there will be a big spike, and I do not want to get caught up in that spike. So it's either going to go up and I get lucky, or it's going to go down and I get stopped at break even. In this case, I did get stopped at break even, and you can see immediately as soon as 9:45 hits, we immediately dumped down to my entry, and that is when I got stopped out back at break even. Now I take another trade here, and the reason I took this trade, my third trade, this is the one that actually ended up as a loss. So far I took 2 break-even trades, and now I'm about to take a loss. And the reason I take this long is because now I take my second trade at 9:48, so roughly around here at the end of 9:48, so around here, and it was in this pump right here. So the reason I'm taking this long is because you can see here, so we have these lows, which we already played them off. If we extend this here, again, this is now the second trade that I took after we traded back higher. And again, now we're treating this whole area here like this area here. This, you can see, this is where we're holding and we're ranging. And this is also the previous high here. Before, like, as we sold off, we pushed back up, and then we traded lower, and then we traded higher. So in my eyes, we essentially broke structure in a sense, and now we're pulling back to now this area of volume, and now I'm taking this long, targeting, you know, my initial target, which was 80. So that is why I'm taking this trade. So I'm in long here now at 9:48.49, and I'm just waiting for this to go in my direction. And I was in profit for a little bit, but unfortunately this one did stop me out, and I was not in profit 5 points, and I got stopped out here at, I believe, 56.60. So yeah, I got stopped out, and then it's the same thing here. Now we have news at 10 a.m. today, and I knew that obviously going into today, and I wanted to, you know, long this again. I was very tempted to. We did the exact same thing. We're still in demand. My plan hasn't been invalidated yet. Unless we trade beneath 56.55, which, remember, is my low of this range. Just for context, if we zoom in a bit deeper, you can see this is the low. This is the overnight low right here. This is where the overnight low was made. It's 56.55.25. And this low of today, the low of today was 56.55.25. So exactly the low of today was the overnight low. And I wanted to long this because as long as we hold this overnight low, I was confident that we could trade higher back up to 80. But unfortunately, things like this happen in trading, and it's out of our control. There's news happening in 5 minutes. I just tried longing this 3 times. It didn't work out. So I'm becoming a bit more patient now. I'm going to wait till after news and see if I can get a long opportunity then. So, but it's the same thing. If news wasn't coming out in 5 minutes, I would have taken this long here. It's the same idea. We swept these lows, more sell volume down there. We're still in demand. The fact that this is now the overnight low that we just bounced from makes it even more bullish. So I would have taken this long, but I didn't want to because of the news that's coming out. And there's also another opportunity where I wanted to take this long, but I didn't. And that is when we broke the high of day here and we pulled back to it right there. And that is where I wanted to go long again. But that is then when news come out, and you can see how fast that happened. As soon as 10 a.m. hit, we went all the way from 56.70 now up to 56.78. And at this point now, all I'm looking for, it's a very bullish move, and you can see we're trading higher. All I'm looking for here is just a pullback for me to get into, because at this point I'm thinking, hey, we're going to trade to 5,700. I want to be in part of this move. And the way that I get into this move is two different, I was watching two different things. One is an area of low volumes. Now, when we zoom out here and we look at this volume shelf here, this is a volume profile. You can spot the areas of low volume. Now, if you don't know what low volume is, it's the areas where essentially like there's a shelf. So this is like a shelf, and this is like very big volumes. You can see how much orders or volume was traded here, and then you can compare it to this. This is like an area of obviously low volume, and that's because price is trading into it right now live, so there's not much time spent here. But if you compare it down into this range here that we created, and we look at this range, where is the area of low volume within this range? I can see it that it's essentially here from 56.67 down to 56.63. So that is where I want to see a pullback and hold of this area for a move up. Another, I wasn't opposed to also just seeing a move back down to around 56.60, to be honest, and seeing if that would hold. If my demand would hold for the 5th time, I wouldn't be surprised. But the main thing I wanted to see was 56.67-ish down to 56.62. And also another thing that lines up with that is a fib retracement. So if you were to take a Fibonacci level, and then if you were to, let me go to a lower time frame. If you were to take a fib and then draw it from the opening range, so this is the open, and then this is the high of the open, and then this is the low of the open, which we just put in. And if we were to take a Fibonacci level, put it at this low, and put it at the high of the opening range, you can see that the 50% of this range lines up with that low volume area of 56.63.88. So that is where I took my long, spoiler alert. Because now I have more confidence that this area of 56.67 to 56.62-ish is going to be my area of interest to go long. So at this point, all I'm watching is just for a pullback all the way back down to there. Now, the pullback was a bit aggressive. It was pretty aggressive, but that didn't scare me out of this opportunity. So if we were to just slow this down a bit, we're seeing this massive sell-off from the high and the opening news, the morning news, and then once we reach to 56.63, all I want to see here is just a little pause in the action, maybe a little sell attempt and no move lower. But primarily it's a higher risk trade for sure. But I just want to see a pause, maybe some sideways action and some buying stepping in, and that is what I was seeing here at 56.63. So we sell off, and then I can see some green bubbles here stepping in. Essentially buyers are stepping in, and that for me, it's like, hey, this is my area of interest. This is the low volume area. This is the 50% retracement. We're seeing some buyers here. That is enough for me to put on this trade, risk a few points, and just take it long, try and see if this works out. Unfortunately enough, it does work out, and I was targeting 80. Now, the reason I sold a bit early, just for context, or not early, I guess, because it wasn't early, but for context, I exited this trade a bit later at around, this was 10:12. So in 10:12, I exited this trade at 56.77.25. And you're about to see here why I wanted to stay in this trade. And you can see we ended up going higher later on in the day. but I wanted to stay in this trade, but I didn't because of something that I spotted as I was in the trade, which you will now see here. So as we play this action, what you're going to see is you're going to see seller step in consistently, and he's going to completely just keep offering the market. So we see this here. We're already seeing it like the first time here. Now, if you see this red line, this is an offer that's stepping in. He gets filled, and that's the first thing. First sign, it's not that bad. I mean, it's just happening once. Offer gets filled. It's normal. It's, you know, nothing crazy. Then what he does after we traded lower from it, and we're beneath it again, he puts his offer here again, and that's a bit concerning because now, hey, it's like he has a lot of confidence in this trade, whatever trade he's taking. So he gets filled again, and you will see it here. He gets filled again. We trade lower, and then you can see he puts his thing again, but now he's bidding or offering lower at a lower price. So he was offering at essentially 5673.75, and now you can see this red line that was here is now here at 5673.5. So there's lots of conviction on the seller, whoever it is, that the market is going to move lower, and that right there is what is scaring me out of this move. And you can see we got that he got filled again, and that is when I essentially was like, hey, I don't really want to be involved in this. So on this move up, that is when I sold. I'm going to take my profit here, and that's when I got out this trade. And you can see we ended up going back lower, and he does the exact same thing again. As soon as we trade back beneath 56.75, you can see the offer steps in one more time here. You can see by the red line or the number here, 173 compared to everything else, which is pretty low numbers. So that is why I decided to sell my position. But I was still convicted that we were going to trade higher. And you can see it again. He fills, and then he puts his offer limit once more time. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th time that this guy is offering at the same price. And getting filled. It's not like he's taking away. He's actually getting filled on his position. So he's very convicted that the market's going to go lower. But I did decide to take another trade, which was the last trade of the day. It happened at 10:14, so about to happen right now. And I took this long at 56.71.25. The reason I took this long at 56.21.75 is for the following reasons. Now, first reason is before, like I said, I wanted to take this long. This right here is what I said that I wanted to take long before news. This was the previous high of day. So if we were to just zoom out, you can see this was the previous high of day, and I wanted, you can see like once we broke high of day, we pulled back into this area and we started holding the previous high of day. So this is high of day. You can see we draw a line. You can see now we're holding the previous high of day, and that is the part that I wanted to take long, but news is at 10 a.m. so I didn't do that. So you can see we're taking this is the high of previous high of day. If we were to just draw a line all the way across, you can see that this area 56.70 is starting to act as like a pretty important level throughout the day. So here's 56.70. we're drawing just another line here. That's the range of this little pullback thing, and essentially that is why I decided to take this long, because this is the area that I initially wanted to long, and I'm already getting signs of it that it's starting to hold. We held it here and we bounced from it. When we pulled back, this is where we rejected from and traded lower. And then when we traded higher, you can see on this pullback, where did we bounce from? It's from the exact same spot at 56.70. So I had no mind. I'm already in profit. I'm green on the day. I don't mind risking, you know, a few 2-3 points at a trade at 56.71. Stop at 56.69 or so, for, you know, continuation back up to 5700, which was my initial target for the trade. So if we were to just play this out, I get filled here at 10:14, so I'm in this trade, and you can see it happens immediately, and this is why I then get out of the trade immediately. And you see this trade lasted, I believe, like 12 seconds or so. So I enter here at 56.71.25 down here. And then if we were to just like play this in real time, you can see it happens fairly quick. And this offer from earlier is still sitting there. And that is what I was watching. I was like, hey, we need to get above this. So he gets filled, and then the exact same thing happens again. He gets filled, and then boom, he refills his limit order. So he wants to be a seller again. And now he rebid it at 5674.5. So about a tick higher, and then he gets filled again. And it's like, okay, hey, like this is probably gonna go down. That's what's running in my mind right now. So I take this, and then I take my position off of there. I'm like, hey, I'm just gonna take these 3.5 points, and I'm just gonna call it a day. And then from there, obviously the rest of the day, I think it just continues and trades sideways. But eventually we do trade higher up to 5,700. But yeah, that's essentially it. That is the recap of all 5 trades. It kind of goes to show like, hey, I think the lesson within all of this is stay convicted. My plan was never invalidated, and that is why I kept trying to long. You can see all 5 trades today were long. I never switched bias, and I stayed convicted to my pre-market plan, which is also a whole other skill within itself. You have to actually have a solid pre-market plan, and then that would transfer over to the rest of your session. So that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions, just let me know in the comments, or you can DM me on Twitter or on Instagram. All my socials are in the description. And yeah, I'll see you guys when I trade again. Peace.